Alright, so we won't get very far in Daz Studio without any Daz assets. So we'll need to head over to daz3d.com/shop and take a look at their online marketplace, where you can see we've got a load of different assets to choose from at quite a range of different prices and quality. If you are very new to Daz though, and don't want to start shelling out cash straight away, they do have a weekly freebie section up here that we can take a look at. If we scroll down here, we get a weekly set of Daz assets that you can try out for free. Although these do tend to be older assets from the store and generally lower quality, like this weird bird thing, for example. But still, not a bad place to start or check from time to time. Another option for discounted assets can be found back in the store in the sale section here, where there tends to be a lot more assets at much higher quality, mostly for sale under $10 each. Some are even less than $5, like this one, for example. So that's definitely a good place to hang out if you want to build your library of assets. Another option back here is to join the Daz Premium Club. And if you get really into using the software, you can sign up for about $5 a month and get a whole bunch of goodies, including big discounts, coupons, and other freebies. However, this doesn't apply to all models in the store. If we head back to the shop and scroll down here to the product filter section, we need to tick this box to filter only the Premium Club assets. So only this selection of assets will be included in your membership, which do tend to be some of the higher quality assets anyway. And you can also check for that below each thumbnail. You're just looking for this icon here. We've also got a few other bits of useful information down here. This section tells us which character version we can use this asset with. This particular asset is hair, and this is telling us that we can apply this hair to Genesis 8, 8.1, and the older Genesis 3 female models. It's not to say that this wouldn't work on other models, just that this was designed for these specifically. I'd recommend using assets designed for Genesis 8.1 where possible, because they're the newest and most detailed assets available at the moment. And 8.1 is slightly higher in quality than 8, so you could also get away with those assets. So I'd usually filter out anything else up here by just selecting the 8.1 and 8 versions whenever I'm looking for assets. So now you know you're getting the best quality stuff. Let's just get rid of that membership filter as well to give us a few more results. We can also sort our list by new arrivals, so we know anything at the top of our list is nice and new and usually the latest level of quality. And the discounted items also tend to pop up at the top, which is quite handy. And there's a few other filters up here as well, which can help you find what you need a bit faster. Genre is a good one. If you know you want to create a fantasy render, you can filter that and get some more tailored results. And if there's a particular Daz artist that you like, you can also filter that as well. The Daz originals are actually created by Daz3D and tend to follow the highest guidelines for quality. So you'll get some really nicely designed assets in here. And when you've started building up a bit of a library of assets, it's also a good idea to hide the items that you've already purchased as well. So nothing you already own shows up down here. The other icons here tell us what kind of asset we're looking at. And we can see that this wild woman outfit is categorized under clothes, props, and that it's for people or Daz character figures, and that it was designed for female models. So let's click on one of these and see what other info we get. This product is a D-Force outfit for Genesis 8 and 8.1 female characters. And we can find out which artist created this over here. So if you like their work, you can click on those and see more products by the artist. Then we've got details about compatibility here, which you might want to check before purchasing. And you can see that this asset is compatible with the Daz to Cinema 4D bridge, which we'll be looking at a little later on in the course. So we shouldn't have any trouble sending this over to C4D. We can also access the files to manually install this in your Daz3D library as well, which we'll also look at shortly. Then we've got the most important part of this page really, and that's the product shots. And clicking on one of these brings up a gallery of renders showcasing this particular asset. So you can get a good feel of the level of quality and compatibility. And it looks like this item of clothing also comes with a few texture variations. Just keep in mind though, that not everything you see in these images will come with the asset. It's just for demonstrational purposes. But if we scroll down a bit, we do get a full list of everything that's included. And right down the bottom, they do tend to mention other products in the store that are used in the demo renders. So you could also track those down nice and easy if you see something interesting in here. So having a good read through this list before making a purchase is probably a good idea, so you know exactly what you're getting in the download. You can see we'd be getting a bunch of clothing geometry, including the corset, the boots, and the skirt. And we've also got some shaping presets for shaping whichever character you choose separately. So this particular item of clothing will fit properly. And there's a bunch of different presets for some of the popular Genesis 8 female characters that you can find in the store. So it's probably worth checking whichever character you plan on using is compatible. Although there are ways to fit most clothing to just about any character, and again, we'll look at that a little bit later on. Then we've got some material presets, but we won't actually be using DAZ materials, as we'll be exporting to Cinema 4D and using Redshift materials instead. But this does include the different texture variations that we saw back here. So these different looks and patterns, which is always good to have. Some clothing assets also come with various props to complete the look. This one comes with a staff and crystal prop, which we can easily apply to supported characters as well. And we also get some poses with this, which we can probably see in the demo images as well. Quite possibly this pose with the crystal staff prop that's also included. And finally, down here, we've got some related or similar products we can take a look at. Okay, let's go back to the main shop page and filter this to only show Genesis 8 products. If we scroll down here, you might find something like this, where it appears that the same product is in here twice, only the prices are slightly different. But that's because this cheaper one is just textures, which can be used with this product, which is the actual outfit these extra textures are designed for. And if we go inside this one and come down here, you can see that the outfit itself comes with some materials and associated 1 and 4K texture maps, but you'd be able to grab that extra texture set and customize this further if you wanted to. You can also see down here that this particular asset can be found in a bundle, which is another way to buy multiple assets together and save a bit of money. If we go into that and scroll down, we can see what's included in this particular bundle. So we'd get the costume geometry itself, along with the extra texture set, and we'd also get this Angelina Jolie looking character called Sharon that this product has been designed for. So you'd be able to get the whole set and basically be able to recreate the character as you see her here without buying everything separately. And when these bundles are on sale as well, like this, you can definitely save some money if you're after all of these items. One thing to keep in mind though, which isn't visible on this particular product, but if we pull this one up, occasionally you'll come across products like this, which list other required products, which means you'll need to purchase and install these first in order for this particular product to work. And you probably won't come across this very often, but just keep an eye out for it before you make your purchase. Okay, let's head back to the shop. And you'll probably want to start in the people and wearables section. So have a look through here and grab your first DAZ 3D asset, and we'll take a look at how to install them into your DAZ Studio library. Okay, so now that you've bought your first DAZ product, we'll head back to DAZ Central, and under DAZ Studio and My Assets, here's where all the products you own will turn up. So we can just select whichever asset we want to install, like this rocker outfit, for example, and hit install. Another way we can do this is directly from within DAZ Studio itself. Under the Smart Content tab, within All Products, we should be able to find that same asset in here. And sure enough, there it is. So if we double click on that, it'll start installing straight into the library. And when that's done, we can double click on that, which seems to just refresh this panel and move install products to the top. So we can double click again and go inside our product. And now we can explore all the files that are included within our rocker outfit. And finally, if you are having trouble installing your products with these two methods, you can also install assets manually. If you head over to My Account in the online marketplace and to your product library, we can find another list of everything we've purchased. And if we grab that same rocker outfit, we can manually download the files over here. And this zip file is the main install file you're going to need. But some products, including this one, come with a separate templates folder, which can be downloaded separately because it doesn't actually get installed into your DAZ library with the main files. And this is basically a template for the assets UVs that you can use to make your own custom textures from. So I'll quickly show you what that looks like. These are the templates for the rocker outfit. And you can see we've just got the outlines of each product's UVs. And this one looks like it's for the boots. So you could just bring these into Photoshop and paint in your own textures if you need to. But we'll just stick to the textures included in the main installation folder. We've also got the option to send this file straight to the DAZ Install Manager if you've got that installed on your computer, We currently don't, but there's a link down here to where we can grab that. So let's download and install the Install Manager, and we'll have a quick look at how to use that as well. And here's what the Install Manager looks like once you've got it installed. And again, we've got a full list of all the products we've purchased that are ready to be downloaded and installed. But the benefit of this is that we can easily queue up a bunch of these or download them all at the same time by checking each box. And just start the queue when we're ready. But if we want to manually install that zip file we just looked at, which is this file here with the Daz product number at the beginning, we need to get this into the Ready to Install tab here. But we can't just drag this in here, unfortunately. We need to go up here to the Settings and Basic Settings. And we need to locate the Package Archive directory on our computer, which is in the C drive by default. And if we click this link, it'll pull up that folder on our computer. So we'll close that. And we can drag our product zip files into here. And as soon as we do that and refresh our Install Manager, that product will now appear inside here. So we can easily install that manually. And because this is set to delete package once installed, it disappears from here and we can now find it over in the Installed tab. And from here, it's just as easy to uninstall any products we no longer want taking up space on our hard drive. So besides the official Daz store, there are a few other places we can purchase assets for our Daz library. The most popular of which is the Renderosity marketplace, which does tend to have some pretty high quality assets, which is usually quite a bit cheaper as well than what you'd find on the Daz store. We've also got Faux Render, which also has some really high quality assets. And you can even get Luke Skywalker on here and a bunch of other famous characters, which are probably copyrighted, but still, I'm sure you could have a lot of fun with some of these. This one's nice and cheap, and it's even compatible with the latest Genesis 8 characters. But one thing to keep in mind when purchasing from these marketplaces is that you can't install them via Daz Central or Daz Studio because they're outside the main Daz store. So I'll show you the easiest way to go about installing these. If we take a look at this tab, I've purchased this Genesis 8 coat from Renderosity, which upon downloading will usually give us a zip, or in this case, a RAR file that we need to extract manually to our Daz library directory. So to find that, we'll head back to Daz Studio and over to the Content Library tab. Then we'll pop open the Daz Studio Formats folder, which reveals our Daz 3D library folder. And you can see the directory pops up there as well. But if we right click on that, we can browse to folder location, which takes us right there. Then we can minimize this and make a bit of space here. And we need to extract this RAR file into this folder structure. So let's first take a look at what we've got inside this archive. We've got the product image, then the template file, which is the UV templates we looked at before. Then finally, the main installation zip folder. So if we open this up, and I'm using the free compression app 7-Zip to view these, we can now see all of the main asset files. So inside people, for example, we can see this coat is for Genesis 8 female characters. It's an item of clothing. Then we get the artist name, which is Cobra Max in this case. Then the product name. And finally, the assets themselves and material assets. So if we go back to the base directory here, you'll see that these folders correspond to some of the folders we can find in our Daz library. And here's people, data, and runtime. So all we need to do is grab those folders, and we don't actually need the documentation, so we'll leave that. And we can drag these over to merge them into our library. And you can see those assets have now been added to those 3 folders. And now if we head back to Daz Studio and refresh our Daz library folder, if we drill down into there and into those same directories, so people, Genesis 8 female, clothing, our artist Cobra Max, we can now find our coat asset, which we can apply to any character within Daz Studio. And we can also access the different materials and textures as well. So that's the manual installation process, but just be aware that because these assets were created outside the main Daz store, they won't show up back in our Smart Content tab, which only shows products from the Daz marketplace. So let's just grab our Genesis 8 Starter Essentials and over to Figures. Let's bring in our Genesis 8 Basic Female character. And to apply our third-party products, we'll go back to the Content Library and to the Coat. which gives us options for an open coat or a closed coat. But let's just double click on this one. And that's now been applied to our character. So that's the basics of buying Daz assets and getting them into Daz Studio.